Hey, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, 90%, 92%. Ladies, 8 to 10%. Welcome. I got a letter, actually got an email from this guy, and I got to say, if you're going to send me an email, I don't need your life story. I mean, I have very little time, and when I do read, I like to read good books. I don't really want to know about your life story. I mean, just get to the crux, get to the gist of what you got to say. Okay, 3 pages in this letter here. All right, 3. See this? 3, and they're all 3 full pages. Saw your channel on YouTube and tracked your email down on your Facebook. So a little background about myself before I continue. You can skip my background story if you like. You think? I'm going to skip it because I don't want this to be an all-day affair. Basically, the guy, grew up. By the time he was 20, he hit 300 pounds. He was 6 foot, 300 pounds. He's sad. He's lonely. You know the story, yada, yada, yada. And then something must have clicked, and he decided to improve himself, and he dropped down to 168 pounds, a little thin, but fantastic and in shape. I have the pictures to prove this. Okay. He said he was driven by rage and loneliness and inability to get along. But I knew I had to change to get what I wanted one day. A decent job and a beautiful wife, and perhaps a child one day. I worked in a sports shop. I worked as a sports shop manager and a gymnastics coach for little kids. I even did parkour in L.A. Okay, well, that sounds good. I mean, it doesn't sound like you're going to make a ton of money, but, okay, it's a start, and, props to you for losing the weight, I know it's not easy to do. Don't we all? Most of us. And you youngsters, don't chime in, because I didn't start gaining weight until I was about 35, 38, okay? Let's see here. But even after doing all these amazing things and turning my life around, I couldn't get a girlfriend. After changing my fiber of my existence and becoming attractive, and in fact, above average and ripped in my body, I still couldn't date attractive women, and I'm a decent man. Needless to say, I was enraged by this. Sounds like you got a lot of rage, which I can relate to, but I'm not sure why you got so much rage. I mean, don't hate the women. Maybe you weren't as attractive as you thought you were. Maybe you were still the fat guy in the skinny guy's body. I don't know. I had improved, and honestly, I felt the women available to me were a joke, lazy, unimpressed with what I'd done or who I was. Yet they were lazy slobs who had not a fraction of the willpower and energy I did. Okay, well, I'm not sure. I just said, hey, props to you for losing the weight and everything. It's nice that you lost that, but you know what? People live in the now most of the time. Unless you did something monumental, you won a gold medal, and you're a public speaker making hundreds of thousands of dollars just because you won a gold medal or something similar to that, people don't give a shit what you did in the past, okay? I used to train in Muay Thai. I fought. I was ripped. I was just, I used to. And you can't live on your past laurels. So, don't hate on the women for not, kissing your ass or, or being overly impressed by what you've done. Listen, there's going to be people out there, they're going to say they're not impressed. Well, they're just not going to say anything, or they're going to say, oh, yeah, good, I did that, or whatever. They're going to poo-poo it and say it's not that big of a deal. You know what it was, so have enough confidence in yourself to not give a shit about what these other people think. And maybe that will show, and then, it'll reflect off of you onto some of the women that you're around, and you end up getting healthier women, because any woman who took the time to get to know you would say, "Wow, that's a fantastic story. You really did a lot. You must have had a lot of willpower. You must have had a lot of strength, and you know a lot of anger to motivate you." But when they don't, why did you let it bother you? You do it for yourself. You don't do it for other people, and that's one of the problems, I think, with trying to get in shape for other people, is once you've done it and then you see that other people don't really give a shit. They may go, "Oh, you look like you lost a little weight." Yeah, okay, you lost a little weight. Then what? My Christianity and Christian family and friends would say, "God will find you a woman." But the sick irony was, Christian women were worse than normal women and twice as heavy and hypocritical. I don't even want to get into the religion aspect of it, because I'm not a religious person, okay? And I have a feeling that, okay, I'm gonna skip ahead here. He had a Chinese, he had a Korean and Japanese girl and a girlfriend from China. She was sweet, but we eventually broke up due to her father's dislike of me. Not only were they all attractive, they were sweeter and more loyal than any Western girl I ever met, and to this day, I've never had a Western girlfriend. Okay, so that doesn't matter. It's not important. I mean, that's my take on it. It just doesn't matter. What matters is right now. Right now, if you're fit and healthy, feel great about yourself. And don't worry about everybody else. I set off to Shenyang, China, spent 2 months in the country, and I met a beautiful girl from China going to university. What is this? From China, going to university here. She was literally one step below a model. Now, it seems to me that you are focusing a lot on looks. I returned to the U.S. and worked for 3 months to return to her. I fell in love, but in the end she was searching for a richer man, and we had been at a distance for 6 months, and after a second reunion, I learned the dangerous side of Asian women too. But even the ugliness of Asian women was better than the Western women that no longer exist in my heart. The girl had no confidence that I was returning. I couldn't find work in the U.S. You see, I don't have a degree, and well, she did, and didn't respect uneducated people despite our union, and with no confidence in my ability to find a job teaching in China, she broke it off. It's probably a good thing she broke it off, okay? Because with that mentality, and I understand that in China that's very important. I know this. It's probably for the best. Because what I would say is, well, what do you care what she thinks? Do what you need to do, with or without a degree. I don't have a degree, okay? I went to university for about 2.5 years, and I didn't continue. I just didn't have the time and the energy and the money to continue, and I just, I don't want to say I gave up, but I had to work, had to make a living, and I just said, you know what? I look at it now and I say, well, I wish I would have got my degree. It would have made some things easier, but it's not having it has made me who I am today. And there are plenty of people out there who don't have a degree who make a great living and who have a wonderful wife or girlfriend. So, I wouldn't let it get to me. In other words, you're letting all this outside shit get to you. Had I known then what I know now, I might have made the mistake of marrying this girl, but I would have proven her wrong. You see, you don't have to prove anybody wrong. I'm seeing this recur now. I mean, I've read this over a couple of times. Now I'm seeing a recurring theme. After that, I had pulled my back doing deadlifts and couldn't even walk. I grew depressed and chubby due to the inability to exercise. After my health returned and I healed my injury, I applied to a teaching job in Chongqing, China, and after 2 weeks, I was employed. I had started a real life of fulfillment, had an apartment, saved money, and after 6 months in China, I found a lovely girl. Sadly, my newfound glory and pride had me shoot myself in the foot. You see, Angel was a wonderful traditional girl, but wasn't that attractive, a 5 to 6 out of 10. So I broke things off. Too little, too late. After realizing she was marriage material and trying to win her back 4 times, it was over. I've had one girlfriend who was almost a model, but nothing worth marrying. Well, let me tell you something, buddy. I hate to burst your bubble, and I hate to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but having a hot-looking chick doesn't mean that she's a good chick to marry. I mean, honestly. You got a girl, you said she was a 5 or 6 out of 10, and then you tried to win her back 4 times. And she didn't want nothing to do with you, probably because she was smart. She was like, what do I need this guy for? I mean, what would she want you for? Because you were so concerned about her looks that you basically were ready to toss her aside. And I mean, listen, you got to have some kind of attraction to each other. But what were you with her for if you weren't attracted to her in the beginning, at least a little bit? Now, I know, things happen and maybe you fall out of, attraction with her. But and it's probably a good thing that if you felt that way, you didn't get married, because maybe later down the road you would have wanted to divorce her or something like that. I don't know, but I think if you're worried about how does this girl look. What you want is a trophy wife. You want a girl to make you feel better about yourself and to make other people look at you and go, hey, wow, look at that guy. He's something special. Instead of just saying, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I want a girl that I get along with, who I feel is attractive, and who's got the qualities that I want. It doesn't seem like you do that, okay? You see, I had love, but I didn't love that girl, so I broke it off. She was 23, and I didn't want her to waste her youth on me if I wasn't in love at 25. Chinese girls are leftovers. Long story short, I did us both a favor and later realized I loved her. Again, you're worrying about this chick instead of just worrying about yourself. You think she's not capable of thinking for herself? I mean, I understand your motivation, but think about it. You're not responsible for her deciding to get involved in a relationship with you. It's not your responsibility. She's a grown woman, even if she is 23. Now that I've been through all this, if you're not too tired of reading by now, I want to find a hot woman with a good heart. Everybody does. Okay? The trick is to find, it's nice to find, a 10 with a beautiful heart. But that's not always going to be possible. Okay? And I'm not saying you should settle, but, I mean, go watch the movie 10. The guy looks at the girl, he's like, oh, I was just thinking about this the other day. He's like, oh my God, wow, oh, she's a 10. She's a 10. Then he gets into bed with her and has sex with her, and he's like, ugh. I mean, there's a happy medium. You want to find a girl who's good looking, who's very attractive to you, but she's got the qualities that you want. Now, my question for you is this: can I find a beauty in the age range of 18 to 25 who will marry and stay with me? I will go for training in Bangkok and be working in Vietnam, but my base is in China, so I have access to great places for women, but you're the expert in Thailand. Am I looking in the wrong place? I don't expect it to be easy, but I want love, not just money for sex. And wanting a beautiful wife makes my hunting difficult, but I'm willing to accept the challenge. So I exchanged a few messages back and forth with this guy, okay? And, I basically what I told him was just go and have a good time. Just have fun. He's only in Thailand for 12 days. Now, he might go out and meet a woman and get lucky, and she may, before he leaves, she may get close to him, and they may fall in love, and, they have sex, or they don't have sex, whatever. But the chances of that, to truly find somebody and get to know them in 12 days, and I mean, it's a long shot. So what I said was, just go and have a good time. And what happens, happens. Stop worrying about it, okay? And I told him I'll make a video of this. And he asked me a couple days later, hey, when are you going to put the video up? I'm in Bangkok now. And I'm flying blind here, but it isn't my first trip to Asia. My friend suggested to go to Central Lot Prow to hit on normal girls, so I will try this at one point. Now, I know Central Lot Prow very well, and the malls always have some attractive women in them, always, because they want to go shopping, okay? But I would say that, here you are saying you want to find love, and you want to find like the woman of your dreams, and you're going to pick her up at Central Lot Prow, and you think you're going to get involved with her. So, in other words, what you are after and what you're doing, they don't match. I told them, I said, listen, just go have a good time. Go to some clubs at RCA or on Ekamai or whatever, Tongluar, there's some places. And just have fun. Go sightseeing. But don't make it imperative that you find a woman to be your girlfriend or your future wife or to sleep with. So he wrote me back, and he said, we must differ from point of views, but I assure you I don't buy into politically correct views. That being said, I hold myself to a moral and ethical standards. Well, first of all, it's not standards, it's standards. He's saying I think what he's trying to say is he holds himself to high moral and ethical standards, and it's difficult to find a woman with them. It causes a catch-22 situation, self-imposed as it may be. Based on what I believe in my personal integrity to myself and God, now that's going to be an issue. Though you'd be surprised at how that differs from a normal person's opinion on the matter. No, I'm not surprised at all. No doubt, I'm no magic maker or talker or have any skills to be mentioned in regards to women. I simply lure them in with natural flirtation. I don't plan it out, but that's why I have limited success. Boldness perhaps has helped, but that won't fly here, I'd imagine. Thanks again for the knowledge. I think he's just, what I think is he's after a wife, and yet he's trying to pick her up. He's trying to pick up some chick at Central Lot Prow or wherever. And then, like he said, well, yeah, I'm looking for a wife. I mean, dude, that's not how it works. Generally. You don't just sit out and, well, I'm going to go find a wife now. I mean, if that's what you're going to do, go to the Isan province, come up with a bunch of cash, and you'll find a good woman who is, all she expects is that you help her family every month, give a couple $100 every month, and you got yourself an instant wife, and she probably would be very loyal to you, unless perhaps she had already started working in the bars, and then you never know. But my point is that it looks to me like you're doing everything for the wrong reasons. I didn't notice this until just now, but it seems like you're doing things for the wrong reason. You're 30 years old, and you're like on the hunt for some girlfriend. You know what you do? Concentrate on yourself. Concentrate on getting your life together to where you're happy with your job, you're happy with everything else, and maybe that the woman is the one missing piece. And make yourself attractive instead of hating on women because or having some kind of a rage because they don't see everything in you. And then as far as your morals and your ethical standard and your integrity and your love of God, well, dude, that right there is huge, especially here in Asia, okay? I mean, maybe in China there's a lot of Christians, but in Thailand there's not. And your view of how things should be and your own ethics and morals are not going to match up with everyone's. I guarantee you they don't match up with mine. So what you're doing is you're holding a woman to such a high standard that you may never be able to find a woman that's going to be that way. What you have to do is be a little accepting and understand that, you don't have to capitulate to everything and accept everything and just say, well, I'm going to settle. You don't have to do that. But you have to understand that there has to be some flexibility. And it doesn't really sound like you have a lot of flexibility. And I think that comes from the fact that maybe when you were heavier, you have a lot of rage still. That I mean, I'm being Dr. Phil here, or Mr. Psychologist, and this is just my opinion, but I think that you have all that rage still, and it hasn't dissipated. You're not happy with yourself 100%, and you feel like that a girl is going to make your life so much better, when the truth is the girl is icing on the cake. Okay, let me just, I'm going to give you a little example. A lot of time I'm at home. Now I've learned to like to be at home. I've learned that. I didn't, when I was younger, I hated it. I had to go out all the time, be gone all the time. I've had many, many injuries. I've had to stay home because going out was painful. Even now, sometimes it's painful if I walk for a long time. I've accepted that. I enjoy going out every once in a while. Okay? But sometimes you have to understand that in order to to do the things that you want to do, like in my case, to be able to go and make videos outside, to go out and take photos outside, or whatever, you have to be willing to say, well, maybe I'll do a little less in this area of my life in order to do more in that area. The same goes with what you're doing. What you need to do is focus on getting your act together financially. You're still young. You're still 30. Get your act together financially. Get your act together with your job. Get your act together with your health to where you feel good about yourself. And don't expect people to fall over at your feet because you feel like you've accomplished so much. Feel good about yourself for doing that, but don't expect other people to like kiss your ass because of it. It's not going to happen. I mean, most people are not going to do that. I mean, hey, to me, I've hung out with some people that were world-class athletes. And while I appreciated everything that they did, as far as to get fit like that, whether it be in bodybuilding, boxing, Muay Thai, whatever, most of them, they have other issues aside from their physical well-being and their health and their fitness. They always have other issues. I'll give you an example. There was someone that I knew who was a very good fighter. He was the most fit guy, one of the most fit guys I've ever met in my life. He had a heart. He would never, never quit. He wouldn't give up. But he didn't have confidence in himself. And I had to constantly tell him that I thought he could do it. And if I didn't think he could do it, I would tell him. I was honest with him. If he believed me, he ought to believe in himself because I believed in him. And I think that that's very important. So for me, what the whole takeaway from this is that I think you need to change your thinking a little bit. And like to think that you're going to come to Thailand, first of all, you need to think, what is your end goal? And I've gone over this with a couple other guys. I think it's very important to understand, what is your end goal? What is it that you want? Do you want to come here and just sleep with as many women as possible and gain experience sexually from prostitutes? Do you want to hit the bars and have some girls when you feel the need and you'll pay for them? And then in the meantime, you're going to try to maybe get involved and date regular women, regular by meaning non-prostitutes. Is that what you want? Or do you want to completely stay away from prostitutes, as in your case, and just date? Well, dating is never easy. And while here, there may be times when there are women falling at your feet and there's so many girls that you can go out with. You don't have the time or money or energy to go out with them. But there may be times when you really don't have any around, when you're sitting at home going, why am I at home on a Friday night? I'm all alone. It happens. So feel comfortable being alone. Stop worrying about hooking up with some chick and move on with life. Okay? I've said my piece. Listen, if you want to, I just came out with the audio version of They Call Me Farang. It's $14.95. You can click on it. Boom, you get it right away. Just like the Kindle version, except You get the audio version, and I read the book. Finally, it's done. And also, if you sign up for membership to the VIP section where you just get extra videos and podcasts and stuff, and you get access to me if you got questions. If you sign up for membership, you get the audio version of my book, and you get 2 other books thrown in for signing up. So, pretty good deal. Anyway, that's all I got. So, until next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. Chok di lat jerken.